Ever notice how some people just love to test your boundaries? They interrupt, make passive-aggressive comments, or act like your time and feelings are optional. And somehow, we're supposed to just smile and let it slide. Not today. If you're done putting up with people who don't respect you, this is for you. Today, we're breaking down brutally honest, maybe even a little controversial, ways to handle disrespect without losing your cool or sacrificing your self-respect. By the end of this, you'll have every tool you need to show people exactly where the line is drawn. Let's start with one of the most effective and slightly savage techniques, the silent stare. Now you might be thinking, really? Just staring? Yes. Trust me on this, when someone is being openly rude or disrespectful, nothing throws them off more than a long, calm, completely unbothered stare. People who disrespect others are usually looking for a reaction. They want you to stammer, get flustered, maybe even snap back. They're trying to drag you into their drama, make you question yourself, or feel small. But when you just look at them, no words, no expressions, the power dynamic flips instantly. It might sound a bit passive-aggressive, but there's something deeply unsettling about someone who doesn't give the reaction they expect. When you hold a steady, silent stare, you're saying without a word, I'm not playing this game with you. It's a way of reclaiming control without even lifting a finger. And sometimes, that silent stare is the clearest and most powerful no you'll ever say. Let me share a moment when this technique worked like magic. I was in a group meeting where one guy kept talking over me, cutting me off like he was on a mission. You know the type, loud, overconfident, thinking everyone's there to listen to his so-called wisdom. I tried interjecting, tried being polite, but he wouldn't stop. Finally, I just looked at him. I leaned back in my chair, crossed my arms, and held his gaze. No blinking, no expression, just stared for 5 solid seconds. The room went quiet. You could feel the tension build. And then something amazing happened. He stumbled over his words, looked away, and suddenly couldn't meet my eyes. He didn't interrupt me for the rest of the meeting. That silent stare did more than any words could have. And beyond stopping his behavior in the moment, it made him treat me with more respect afterward. Sometimes, you have to show people who you are without saying a word. This technique is more than just a power move. It's a reminder to both them and yourself that you don't owe anyone an emotional reaction. You don't have to defend yourself or prove your worth to people who don't see it. Too often, when someone disrespects us, we feel this urge to explain, defend, or laugh it off to avoid making a scene. But the silent stare, it's not about being aggressive, it's about staying grounded, unbothered, and unapologetically in control of your own emotions. People who disrespect others often do so without thinking. They've never been called out, never faced real consequences. When you give them that silent, deadpan look, it's like holding up a mirror. They're suddenly left alone with their own behavior. You're not telling them they're wrong, you're showing them. And most people don't like what they see. That's why this works. The silent stare strengthens your own sense of self-worth. Every time you choose calm over reaction, you remind yourself that their words or actions can't shake you. It's a quiet but powerful declaration of self-respect. If someone's being rude, pushing boundaries, or making you feel less than, try the silent stare. Just look at them. Let them feel the weight of your calm. You'll be surprised at how uncomfortable it makes them, and how empowered it makes you feel. That silent stare says, I respect myself too much to get dragged into your negativity. And that's a message worth sending. The second technique, embrace silence as your answer. This underrated secret weapon is incredibly powerful. When someone disrespects you, one of the most effective responses is no response at all. Silence isn't passive, it's a choice. And sometimes, it's the boldest and loudest answer you can give. When someone throws negativity your way, they're trying to pull you into their drama, make you feel small, or force you to defend yourself. But when you don't engage, when you just let their words hang in the air, it forces them to sit alone with their behavior. And that silence, it's deafening. People who disrespect others expect a reaction. They're looking for a fight, a justification, or some kind of validation for their behavior. But silence says, I'm not giving you my energy. By not engaging, you keep control of the conversation. I remember dealing with someone who loved making little digs, hiding insults as jokes, and trying to pass them off as harmless fun. One day, he made an unnecessary comment about my work, clearly trying to get a rise out of me. Normally, I would have explained myself or fired back. But this time, I just looked at him, raised an eyebrow, and said absolutely nothing. I let his words hang in the air, letting the awkward silence do the work. You know what happened? He mumbled something and moved on. And that was the last time. He tried pulling that with me. Silence starves disrespect of the attention it craves. When you choose silence, you're choosing yourself. You're saying, I value my peace over your opinion of me. And that's revolutionary. So often, we feel pressured to respond, explain ourselves, defend our choices, or prove our worth. But by embracing silence, you refuse to play by their rules. You take a stand without lifting a finger. You reclaim your energy. Silence is a filter that keeps your peace intact by blocking out the negativity others try to project onto you. Finally, stop explaining your choices. Seriously, how many times have you made a decision for yourself only for someone to immediately start asking why? People seem to think they're entitled to an explanation for everything we do, but they're not. Your choices are your own, and you don't owe anyone an explanation for how you live your life. When people question your choices, they're often not looking to understand, they're looking to judge, poke holes, or make you doubt yourself. But your life isn't up for debate. When you stop explaining yourself, you reclaim your autonomy and show them that your decisions are enough simply because you made them. When I switched careers from a safe job to something I was passionate about but riskier, people kept asking, why would you leave a stable job? At first, I explained talking about my goals and plans, but no matter what I said, it never felt like enough. One day, I decided to stop. When someone asked, I simply said, because I wanted to. No extra details. And you know what? The silence that followed was everything. People eventually stopped asking because I took away their power to question my choices. Not explaining yourself is freeing. It's you standing in your own truth, knowing that your decisions are valid just because you made them. When you stop explaining, you stop seeking approval, and that's when you truly start living on your own terms. One of the most liberating things you can do for yourself is to stop justifying your actions to others. When you stop explaining every choice you make, you give yourself permission to live authentically, free from the weight of other people's expectations. You stop wasting your energy on endless explanations and start pouring it into actually living the life you want. There's a powerful lesson in that. Your life doesn't need an audience vote. Not every decision you make has to be analyzed, dissected, or approved by others. And when you stop explaining yourself, you send a clear message to the world. I'm confident enough in my choices that I don't need your approval. Think about it. When was the last time you saw a truly confident person breaking down their decisions just to make others understand? Probably never. That's because people who own their lives don't rely on external validation. They know the only approval that matters is their own. I've been there myself. I used to be the kind of person who'd practically give a PowerPoint presentation just to justify my decisions and get people on board. But over time, I realized something important. Explaining myself to everyone only made me second-guess my choices. So I made a pact with myself: if someone asks about a decision, I'll answer briefly, a sentence or two, and that's it. If they push for more, I'll smile and move on. And you know what? Life got a lot lighter. The more I stopped explaining myself, the more confident I became. The less I sought approval, the more at peace I felt with my own choices. So here's my challenge to you. The next time someone questions your decisions, resist the urge to explain. Just say, because I wanted to, or that's what felt right for me, and let the silence speak. You'll be amazed at how powerful that simple statement is. You'll feel stronger, more in control, and more at ease with yourself. And the best part, you'll realize your choices don't need anyone else's stamp of approval. They're valid simply because you made them. Sometimes, the best way to handle people who don't respect you is by keeping your distance. I know that might sound harsh or even a little cold, but here's the hard truth: not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. If someone consistently disrespects you, one of the healthiest moves you can make is to give yourself some space from them. This doesn't mean you hate them or that you're being dramatic. It simply means you respect yourself enough to protect your energy. Keeping your distance isn't about being mean or ignoring people. It's about choosing where and how you spend your time and emotional energy. Imagine your life as a limited access club. Not everyone gets a VIP pass. If someone keeps crossing your boundaries, making you feel small, or radiating negativity, why would you keep them close? Distancing yourself gives you clarity. It lets you see things as they really are, without the fog of emotional manipulation or guilt clouding your judgment. When you keep disrespectful people in your life, it's like inviting them to a mental and emotional buffet. They take what they want, criticize, judge, and drain you without giving anything back. And then we wonder why we feel anxious, frustrated, or exhausted. Giving yourself space from these people is an act of self-preservation. It's about protecting your mental health, preserving your peace, and making room for the people who actually respect and uplift you. Letting go of the guilt around distancing yourself from toxic people can be incredibly liberating. You're not obligated to keep disrespectful people in your orbit just because they're family or because you've been friends for years. Society often tells us to be loyal, forgiving, and nice, but at what cost? Protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's necessary. You're not here to be anyone's emotional punching bag or their constant source of validation. Sometimes, the best way to show you've had enough is by simply stepping back. Keeping your distance is a powerful reminder that you are your own priority. You don't have to play the role someone else has assigned to you. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to your time, energy, or emotions. When you put a little space between yourself and disrespectful people, you're making a clear statement. Your well-being comes first. And that's not just self-care, it's self-respect. This distance also gives you the chance to refocus, to invest in the relationships that genuinely matter. When you spend more time around people who respect you, you feel more confident, supported, and fulfilled. And the less time you spend around those who tear you down, the less power they have over your mood, your thoughts, and your life. I used to feel so guilty about distancing myself from people, even when they weren't treating me well. I worried they'd think I didn't care or that I was overreacting. But over time, I learned that stepping back wasn't just about removing negativity, it was about creating space for growth. When I started giving myself permission to distance myself from those who disrespected me, I felt a new kind of freedom. I had more energy, more peace, and a clearer vision of the kind of relationships I wanted in my life. Another way to handle people who don't respect you: hold your head high. I know it sounds like simple, old-school advice, but trust me, this one's pure gold. When someone's being disrespectful, their goal is often to make you feel small. They want you to doubt yourself, to lower your eyes, to shrink into yourself. But when you stand tall and hold your head high, you send a silent but powerful message. I know exactly who I am, and nothing you say or do will make me feel less than that. Confidence can make people uncomfortable, especially people who thrive on putting others down. Why? Because their power depends on the idea that their words and actions can influence and control you. When you refuse to let their disrespect touch you, when you literally stand taller and carry yourself with confidence, you strip them of that power. You become untouchable. I remember dealing with someone who couldn't resist throwing little insults my way every time we met. You know the type, always a smirk, always a joke that feels more like an attack. I used to brush it off, but honestly, it got to me. I started dreading being around them, always bracing myself for the next jab. But one day, I decided I was done feeling small. I showed up with my shoulders back and my head high, and every time they made one of their comments, I just looked them in the eye, smiled, and carried on as if their words meant nothing. And you know what happened? They started backing off. It was like they could sense their comments no longer reached me, that I was too far above their nonsense. Suddenly, their power faded. Holding your head high isn't just about physical posture, it's about mental posture too. It's about walking into every room like you belong there. It's about refusing to shrink yourself to fit someone else's idea of who you should be. When someone makes a snarky comment, let it roll off you. They're not seeing the real you. They're projecting their own insecurities. So why let that bother you? Here's my challenge. The next time someone disrespects you, whether it's a subtle dig or a full-on insult, don't react. Instead, take a deep breath, pull your shoulders back, and keep your head high. Look them straight in the eye as if to say, I see you, but I'm above this. You'll feel an immediate rush of confidence, a sense of peace that comes from knowing their words hold no power over you. At the end of the day, respect starts with you. The more you respect yourself, the less room there is for anyone else's disrespect to stick. Stand tall, own your worth, and remember you're worth every bit of that confidence. Life's too short to bend over backward for people who can't see your value. Protect your peace, live life on your terms, and never apologize for walking away from what doesn't serve you.